Dr. Elena Ramirez wiped a bead of sweat from her brow as the first rays of dawn crept over the jagged Sacramento mountains. At the Apache Point Observatory's deep space array, every antenna was trained skyward, listening for whispers from the universe. The station's vast parabolic dishes, coated in frost from the desert night, stood like silent sentinels against the fading stars, though Elena had spent the past 12 hours monitoring a particularly noisy sector near the Carina Sagittarius crossroads. Her colleagues were dozing in fold-out chairs, lulled into dreams by the white noise hum of cooling fans. She alone remained vigilant, her eyes tracing spectral peaks on the glowing monitors. Then, just as the clock turned 5:02 local timer, sharp spike jolted her from near dash sleep. At first, she thought it was terrestrial interference, a passing satellite, a wayward drone. But the pattern repeated. Pulse, 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 pulse. Slowly, her pulse matched the rhythm on the screen. She tapped her headset. Control, come in. You're not going to believe this. Seconds later, the observatory's director, Dr. Malik Sharma, snapped awake. Show me, Elena. He joined her at the console, his dark eyes flicking across the data. The pulses were too regular, too precise to be anything natural. After a breathless minute, he whispered, "This is intelligence." Word crashed through international channels like a meteor strike. Within 20 minutes, news desks in London, Beijing, and Brasilia were interrupted with alert banners. Unidentified extraterrestrial transmission detected. Streetlights in New York blinked in solidarity. Cafes in Rome fell silent. Governments triggered emergency protocols. Cryptographers were summoned, linguists called in. Religious leaders conferred in midnight vigils. In Beijing's Zhejiang, President Liu Wei convened the Central Security Commission. His generals laid out satellite imagery showing nothing in orbit, no probes, no ships, but the signal source was traced to the far side of the moon. In perpetually shadowed craters no human probe had ever lingered in. A chill ran through the room. Someone or something had placed a beacon in lunar darkness, waiting. Meanwhile, in Stockholm, the Nobel Committee met in closed session. Physics laureate Professor Ingrid Svensson, an expert in cosmic microwave background, stared at the scrolling code. "They're sending prime numbers," she said, voice trembling. 2, 3, 5, 7. Then matrices of fractal coordinates. It's a greeting, but also a map. As the world awakened to the same terrifying realization, ordinary lives fractured into chaos and awe. In Lagos, shutters clanged down on market stalls. Mothers clasped children close, whispering prayers. In São Paulo, groups of hackers live-streamed their attempts to decode the pulses, while armed militias seized radio towers. In Moscow, a military parade was hastily repurposed. Tanks rolled out of Red Square, aimed skyward. Back at Apache Point, Elena and Malik worked through the night. The signal's cadence revealed layers like Russian dolls nested within one another. First came the simple greetings, prime sequences indicating intelligence. Then came star charts pointing to a system 4,200 light-years away. Finally came something else, an irregular interval, so faint Elena almost missed it. She zoomed in, heart hammering. "It's a countdown," she breathed. Malik peered over her shoulder. "To what?" Elena's fingers flew across the keyboard, parsing the data. Every 1,728 pulses, coincidentally. The number of hours in 3 lunar months. There was a blank space. And within that space, a hidden code. The 2nd of July 25, July 2nd, 2025. Outside, the first line of July dawn was already brushing Antarctica in pink. By July 2nd, every nation would have cracked the date. And if the signal represented a warning, its arrival would be upon them. Elena exhaled, cold dread pooling in her stomach. "We have to alert them," she said, but her voice quavered. Somewhere beyond the moon, an intelligence waited. And they had given humanity until July 2nd to make their next move. Below her, the world held its breath. And in that pregnant pause, the seeds of fear and fury took root. The sun had barely dipped below the horizon when the world's defenses snapped to life. In command centers, stretched across every continent, screens flickered from placid star fields to urgent alerts. The countdown hidden in the alien signal was only hours from completion. Nations once locked in rivalry now bristled with coordinated hostility toward a common foe. In Cheyenne Mountain's war room, General Marisol Vega stood rigid before the Global Defense Council's holographic display. Satellite feeds showed dozens of unidentified objects, sleek, silvery orbs gliding into geostationary orbit, each one the size of a city bus. "They're positioning themselves," she barked, voice echoing off steel walls. "On my mark, initiate protocol, Iron." Shield. Across the Atlantic, aboard the HMS Titan in the North Sea, Captain Adebayo Okonkwo watched trainee sailors scramble to battle stations. The Royal Navy's newest railgun arrays charged, humming with electric tension. "Lock onto the nearest target," he ordered. "Let's show them Earth's welcome committee." Back on terra firma, panic ignited. In Tokyo's neon-lit Shinjuku district, commuters pressed against subway doors as an automated announcement crackled in 5 languages. "Prepare for potential evacuations. Remain calm." A few blocks away, at the sprawling Shinjuku Gion Park, families gazed skyward, unsure if the distant glimmers were aircraft or something stranger. Meanwhile, in the Great Barrier Reef's underwater research lab, Dr. Mei-Ling Chun and her marine biology team monitored seismic sensors. The ocean floor trembled as railgun slugs pierced orbit, sending shockwaves through coral canyons. "Impact in T-1 minute," Mei-Ling whispered. Even through reinforced glass, she felt the rattle of the sea around her. As the clock edged toward 23:59 UTC on July 1st, communities worldwide braced for the unknown. Streets emptied into makeshift bomb shelters. Neon marquees in Las Vegas went dark. Prayer vigils lit up rooftops in Cairo. Online, a torrent of live streams captured every twitch and tremor. Viewers in the hundreds of millions glued to humanity's collective spectacle. Then, in an instant, fury was unleashed. From snowy Siberia to the sun-baked plains of the Serengeti, Earth's armies, fleets, and defense grids fired in one synchronized salvo. Anti-orbital railguns ripped through the night sky, each beam a cathedral of searing light. Hypersonic missiles leapt on invisible cylinders of air, their warheads trailing fireballs as they climbed toward the silent watchers. Laser batteries scorched the ionosphere in angry crescendos. On a balcony in São Paulo, street artist Rafa Silva felt the shockwave before he saw the sky alight. He clutched his can of spray paint, now forgotten, as the city trembled. Across the park, vendors and children alike stared, mouths agape, at the blossoming arcs of energy overhead, humanity's battle cry etched in fire. High above, the alien orbs quivered under the onslaught but held their courses. Then, almost imperceptibly, the tide turned. One by one, the orbs unleashed replies of their own, beams of deep violet energy that carved jagged scars across Earth's defenses. Satellites winked out, their circuits fried. Railgun arrays sputtered. Missile batteries exploded in reverse as return fire struck launch silos. In the heart of New Delhi, Colonel Arjun Patel's command post erupted in alarms. "We're taking heavy losses," he shouted, relaying coordinates to nearby brigades. Dozens of tanks and artillery units fell silent under the alien counterattack, their crews scrambling for cover. The city skyline, once a tapestry of bustling life, now glowed with the fires of conflict. Yet amid the escalating carnage, A countercurrent of solidarity pulsed through humanity. In Berlin's underground bunker, scientists from the European Space Agency and student volunteers from Munich raced to reconfigure a hacked neural network and an AI-driven cipher cracker to intercept the aliens' countercode. In Nairobi, community leaders organized field hospitals in classrooms and mosques. Unarmed civilians ferried wounded soldiers back from the front lines. By the time the first light of July 2nd crept over the Pacific, both sides had tasted blood. Communications from the alien craft shifted tone. The once measured pulses now throbbed with an urgency that felt almost wrathful. Earth's own transmissions fragmented but defiant answered back. On a scorched hillside outside Santiago, a squad of Chilean Marines crawled toward a crashed transport module, its hull scorched and smoking. Corporal Daniela Cruz peered through her scope at the silent, broken form of a scouting drone, perhaps the first casualty of this unprovoked war. She unclipped a makeshift banner from her pack, a jagged Earth emblem hastily painted. For every fallen friend, she vowed, voice steady, we strike back twice as hard. And so, as the dawn rose on July 2nd, 2025, the fury of two worlds collided in the void above. Earth, united in rage, had thrown its full might at an unknown adversary and found that the cosmos could fight back. Yet in that crucible of fire and fear, humanity discovered a power more formidable than any weapon: the unbreakable will to defend its home. The true battle, neither side yet knew, had only just begun. The world sat in tense anticipation as the synchronized clocks around the globe ticked toward 3:17 UTC on July 2nd, 2025. In underground bunkers and mountaintop observatories alike, human eyes turned skyward, not in wonder but in war. Every anti-orbital railgun, laser battery, and hypersonic missile launch tube powered up across Earth's defenses, humming with lethal intent. On the deck of the Italian naval destroyer Volcano, Commander Alessandro Moretti gripped the railguns. Targeting console. Ahead, a massive silhouette materialized against the ink-black void. The lead alien cruiser, its surface rippling like liquid metal. Moretti's voice cut the silence over comms. All batteries hot. Awaiting your order. Fire, came the terse reply from the Global Defense Council's Central Command. 1,000 railguns across 6 continents unleashed simultaneous beams of cobalt blue plasma. From the Pacific to the Atlantic, laser arrays painted the night, sky in streaks of brilliant light. The volley struck first at the cruiser's leading edge, gouging deep channels of molten metal. In the distance, satellite feeds caught the blast in glorious slow motion, an incandescent blossom of human fury exploding across the void. Moments later, the cruiser shuddered, its hull buckling. And then came the echo, a shockwave of electromagnetic force that rippled through near-Earth space, knocking out some satellites and sending debris hurling toward the planet like metallic hail. Ground crews watched in horror as railgun emplacements and missile silos sparked and collapsed under the retaliatory pulse. Commander Moretti slammed her fist on the console. Report damage. Severe, her weapons officer replied. We've lost radar and comms. Hull breach in Section 3. We're still afloat, but barely. Across the globe, similar scenes unfolded. In New York, Central Park's underground missile silo was rendered silent as the counterpulse fried its guidance systems. In New Delhi, slender laser towers collapsed into smoldering ruins. Everywhere, human defenses so proudly arrayed lay fractured. And yet, among the ruins, a new signal crackled through the static, slicing across ruined frequencies with startling clarity. Dr. Elena Ramirez, now aboard the hastily converted ISS communications module, recognized it instantly. The rhythm of the prime number sequence, now laced with urgency. She keyed her mic, voice trembling with adrenaline. It's a distress call. They're wounded. Below her, Earth's battered fleets and broken batteries listened. For the first time since the beacon's discovery, the alien pulses carried emotion, not condescension or threat, but desperation. Mile after mile, humans paused in their desperate scramble for repair and reload. In a scorched clearing outside Astana, Captain Timur Beketov set down his rifle. Around him, Kazakh border guards strained to pick up the oscillating hum on a battered radio receiver. He exchanged a look with his second command. They're asking for ceasefire? Back in Rome, Pope Lucia Ferraro delivered an impassioned plea broadcast live on every surviving network. We have shown them our might. Now let us show them our mercy. Her words rippled through cities and camps alike, reigniting a spark of unity even in the darkest of hours. On the deck of the Volcano, Commander Moretti felt her grief and rage war with a reluctant compassion. She recalled the shattered drone in the Chilean highlands, the terrified faces in New Delhi. Slowly, she spoke into the comms. "Council, we need orders. Do we stand down?" Silence answered until the Global Defense Council's voice crackled through. "Cease all offensive operations. Initiate diplomatic channel. Respond with your status." Every launcher cooled. Every railgun barrel went dark. Across the battle-scarred planet, humanity's weapons became monuments to both pride and regret. In that fragile lull, Dr. Ramirez translated the alien impassioned plea. "We did not wish to destroy. We sent a warning. Please, let us talk." Beneath the damaged skies, survivors emerged from shelters and foxholes, blinking in the harsh daylight. The air was still heavy with dust and the scent of ozone, and in that silence, a new chapter beckoned. Earth and its enigmatic visitors, once locked in cosmic combat, now faced a far more perilous venture, the delicate art of understanding one another. And so, with fury spent and hope rekindled, humanity took its first tentative step toward the unknown, undaunted, unbowed, and desperately determined to forge peace from the ashes of war.